back to True-Moto-Resto. On today's video, we're going to do an oil change on the 2017 Africa Twin. She's warming up right there. Stay tuned. So today is oil change day for the Africa Twin, which will also include complete cleaning of the bike for winter storage. So we'll see how all that's done. It's pretty straightforward. So right now I'm just I'll warm it up for 5 minutes, get the engine oil flowing a little bit, and then we can wheel it further into the shop and start taking things apart. So basically there's 3 Allen bolts that hold the skid plate on. Alright, so the 3 bolts come out. And then basically this will pivot down and just come right off. There is a little hole at the back here with a grommet in it that fits on a peg. So, but again, it's pretty straightforward to remove that whole thing. Okay, on the Africa Twin, there are, see if I can get a shot under here, there are 2 drain plugs. One is right here. So you're kind of looking at the front of the engine here. Follow back. One is kind of right there, sitting at an angle. And then the other one is further back. It's right at the very back. It is also protected by these raised bosses on the lower case. So you got to take both of those drain bolts out to properly drain all of the engine oil. The first one, it's usually a good idea to wear rubber gloves doing this sort of stuff just to make sure I don't burn my hands. However, I forgot to put them on, so I know the engine oil is not that hot. I just warmed the bike up for a few minutes, so now we're going to take out the other drain plug. There you go. There's the other one. And we'll take off the oil filter here. Again, I just use this is kind of a cap style wrench. This is a Honda item. Now I just use that. There are 2 oil filters on this bike because it's a DCT model. All right, so here are the parts that we need for this particular oil change. So obviously the new oil filter. This is the DCT clutch oil filter, which I'm going to take off in a moment. And then 2 new crush washers for the drain plugs, making sure that we put those the right way around. Flat side to the case, and then this is a new O-ring for the cover that goes over this clutch oil filter. So I usually try to change this at least every other oil change. I may have said before that when it comes to putting this stuff on, I don't use a torque wrench, I just do it hand tight. Okay, so here's a great great tip. I just broke my own rules here. So I put the oil on the filter, which is good. But what I didn't do, this is the one I took off. And you see that? The O-ring that sits in there is missing, and it's sitting right on here. So you always want to make sure that you look for that, and I did not look for that right away. I could tell when that filter was going on, it didn't feel right. So there we go, crisis averted. So make sure you always look for that. Make sure you get that that other O-ring off there in case it sticks. That feels better. Get a better grip on this. And again, I just like to be hand tight. No need for it to be any tighter than that. Alright, so we put the drain plugs back in. Let's give it a little wipe. Make sure everything's clean. All right, so this little cover here has the oil filter behind it. Okay, so you can see here that there is a rubber O-ring on that, which I'm going to change shortly. There's a spring. Okay, just grabbed it in the middle and at the edge, and it is out. So when you put it back in, it says right here, outside, and the rubber grommet seal, the O-ring faces inside. There is the Honda part number. I did just put a little bit of oil on that O-ring. When you put this thing back on, you got to make sure that it goes in very evenly. So the spring goes on in there first, and then what I want to do here is I want to make sure that this goes in. If it goes in crooked, then you can have issues with the thing sealing properly. So that goes in there. Just keep pressure on that cover as you're putting the bolts back in. I'm just going to do them finger tight for now. These, you want to be very, very, very careful with these Allen bolts because it would be quite easy to strip these guys if you're not careful. So I'm going to break out the torque wrench just for giggles here. I'm starting off at 10. I just go to 12. All right, we'll start it up. We got the oil in there, and before we clean everything up, we'll check for oil leaks. Looks good. Okay, one thing I forgot to show you when doing your oil changes and your regular servicing on the Africa Twin is to check the crankcase breather tubes. So you'll see in the shot here, you can see two of them. This is the front one, and that's the rear one. And on the Africa Twin, it's pretty normal for this one here to get filled up with oil. So I end up draining this very frequently. So the reason you didn't see me drain it in the oil change video earlier, or the oil change part of the video earlier, is because I'd only just done it. You can see the color of that one is quite a bit darker than that tube there. That tube's never had any oil in it. This tube invariably always has oil in it, and that's not unusual for the Africa Twin, but you do need to but you need to drain that quite often. I do mine every 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers. It's quite easy to do. You can even do it just with your fingers, just squeezing that clip up, pull the plug out, and just drain it onto a rag. I have a rag where my hand is here, then pop the plug back in. But you definitely want to keep that drained. Okay, so once the oil change has been done and you check the leaks and whatnot, good idea just to kind of give the bike a good cleaning if you're putting it away for the winter like I am. So all the pipes there, all the header pipes have been cleaned so that all the tarnishing is gone. Basically everything has been cleaned. Check the chain tension, clean the chain, swing arm, everything. Soup to nuts cleaning job just to so it's looking like new again for next summer. There's always a chance I'll get out again before the winter sets in permanently, but we'll see if that happens or not. I'm not thinking it will, but anyway, bike oil change is done, chain tension, chain cleaned, everything's been checked over, and she's ready for winter, unless things dry up again. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. And please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.